Get your Detroit DIY apparel today. Check out the store in the link provided in the description. Thank you. Today I'm going to show you how to make and install shiplap siding. This is going to be a vertical siding, and it's shiplap whether it's exterior or interior. You can make your own shiplap. You don't have to go out and buy it. We're going to use some dado blades, a sacrificial fence, and a table saw. If you go to my channel and you go to my videos, you'll find a video in there called how to use and set up dado blades. I'm not going to show that in this video because I already have a video covering it. You'll also can go to my playlist or my channel and my videos, and you can find why do you need a sacrificial fence, and in that video we make this sacrificial fence. You're going to need that to run these dado blades and to make this shiplap siding. So we're going to make some siding. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Dirdorf and this is Detroit DIY. Let's get started. I have my dado blade set up to run through it half the thickness of this board, and really close to it. I might be a little shy, so I'm going to run one piece through and then another piece through and set them together and make sure that I have a flush surface, or do I need to tweak my height on my dado blade a little bit. So let's get going. I'm going to first cut the face side of this board, and there will be no dado on the other side because this is the starter board. We're going to run through 2 times just to make sure that the cut is nice and clean and the chippers have everything off. So there we have it. That's what we're looking for, that nice notch. Now I'm going to get another board and cut it and see how we fit together. On my first board I cut the dado on the front side or the outside of the board. On this one I want to cut it on the back side. Unfortunately this is not true rough sawn from a local mill around here. This is rough sawn from a lumber store, which is a little different because it's only rough on one side. Now we want to do our test fit. We didn't take enough, just a little more. I've cut my boards to length, and I'm just going to use these small pieces to fine-tune my dado blade. That way I'm not throwing away pieces if I accidentally cut it too deep. To be honest with you, pretty happy about that. So, and I did tweak it twice. And the nice thing is too about using these smaller pieces is that if you make a mistake or you do cut it too deep, you can just cut a little bit off of them and start over until it gets so small you can't hold it. And then you're not throwing away any material. So let's get these dados cut to the right depth and start installing. I just want to add, I'm using a 13/16 dado stack, or the widest stack I can get into this particular saw. So that's the groove that I'm going to go with, and it should work just fine. Give me a 1/2 inch overlap or so. I'm going to tack this first board in place using 2-inch pin nails, and I have a 1/2 inch spacer to raise it up off of the deck board in case I ever have to take that off. That's it. Now I gotta, because of this door, this one's gonna have to be cut down. So I'm gonna get that marked out and get it cut. I'm working on the cutout for around my door, and the dado blade managed to do all of this, but obviously it cannot do this. So I'm using my multi-tool and I'm cutting this stuff out so that it's the same depth as the dado. And it's proven to fight me a little. That should be pretty close. I'm just going to pop it out of there, and then I'll do a little cleanup on it. Alright, we'll see how it fits. What I'm doing now is making the pieces for under the door. I've already cut my side laps in them for my overlay, for my shiplap. Now what I need to do is trim off this top piece right here to fit under the door, but keeping in mind which way they overlap. So it's going to overlap like this from this side out. So this is the section here that I need to relieve. To go under the door. I'll finish these up and then we'll start getting some stuff. We're gonna have to paint it first because there's no way to be able to paint this once it's installed. So All these small pieces I'm going to paint, and the entirety around the door frame. Now what I have is the pieces for above the door, and I'm going to do them the same way. A lap joint on the front, one on the back, and then the reveal to go in behind the door. I'm going to clean these up a little bit and get some paint on them. I've got all my pieces painted for around the door. They need a few more minutes to dry, and then we can start installing. I knew these would be the most time-consuming pieces because of the paint and the trim work I wanted to do on them. I didn't just want to cut it off straight. I wanted it to look like it was supposed to be there. So all we got to do now is tack these in, and then we are good to go. I've got a line drawn on here where I want them. I'm going to start fitting the top pieces and the bottom pieces and get on down to that next piece. Working on the piece for the other side of the door now, and I've just rearranged my fence so that I can cut a dado as much as I can down the inside of this to fit behind that door trim. So now I just need to take my multi-tool like I showed before and cut this section out and the same thing down there. This is where I'm at. Now it's just a matter of cutting a dado on both sides of the board down to the window. That would be one dado on the front, one in the back. Let's go cut a couple. Before cutting your dados, look your boards over good, because this one's a little mucked up right here. So I'm going to do my bottom dado on this side and my top dado on this side. Being exactly what you want. I'm going to cut a couple more and then we're going to get them installed. I'm using a little piece of half-inch plywood to space the boards apart to give me a half-inch spacing. And I'm using 2.5-inch hardboard siding nails. These work out perfect, they grip really good, and they'll never let go. I'm going to get some more on, and we will come back when we get into this window over here. I'm going to run out of daylight real soon. I'd like to get this piece made, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get our measurements to do that. First off, I'm just going to take a piece of wood and I'm going to lay it in here on top where it's sitting flush to the top on the window, and draw me a line right here. Then I'm going to measure up 1/4 of an inch and draw another line. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing down here and draw a line. Once I have that, I'm going to take this 1/2 inch plywood and set it right in here, and I'm going to draw me a line all the way down this board so I can get a measurement from that line to how wide I want this piece to be, where there's a 1/4 inch gap between this and the window. Then I'm going to take all my measurements from the top, because I'm going to push the board all the way up to the top. There'll be a slight gap at the bottom, a 1/2 inch or a little more at the bottom. So all my measurements will come from the top. So my top piece will be 9 inches. My bottom piece will be 45 1/8. And then I'll come in here and measure from where it's contacting the window to what it is. It is 3 1/4. So I'm going to cut that at 3 inches. That'll give me my 1/4 inch. Let's get it cut. I've got my board laid out where this side is going to be flush to the other piece of siding, so nothing will get cut out here. The window opening will get cut out here. This is the top of the board, and all of our measurements have to come from the top, because that is how we measured it out there. So we want to go 9 inches. We want to go 45 1/8. And we need 3 1/8 inch remaining. So that is what I need to cut out. to flip the board around, and I'm just going to use a couple of bar clamps here to secure it into place while I cut out the rest of the opening. Now that it's cut, I'm going to flip it over and finish the cut off with the multi-tool. And then I'll just give it a little cleanup. I've got a couple lines drawn on my throat plate so that I know where to stop cutting, or right at where the blade stops cutting. So what I want to do is set my fence to cut it right to that edge. Something just like that. A little bit more. That is just what I want. I'm going to start back here and feed it through. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this side. This side's a different story. Without a little bit of cheating, you're not going to get a lap joint on this side. You'll have to do it all by hand. I am going to freehand it through here, all the way up to here. There's no way I can fence it. There we have it. The rest of it I'm going to do with my multi-tool, get it trimmed out. You have to get it painted and installed. Yesterday in my case to get this piece cut, I didn't think things through properly, and I cannot manage to fit this in to where it needs to go with this board in place. So I need to pop this board off. Hopefully I can save it, and if not I'll have to make another one. But I would rather do that than cut this in a couple of places just to fit it in. So I'm going to get this board off, then I'll get this one in place and I can lift it up a little bit and get this one back in. Success. With this piece out of the way, I've got this one just tacked on here with one nail partially in at the top, just holding it where I need it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the remainder of the bottom and the top so that I can fit them in and get these reveals correct on both sides, top and bottom. I've got my other pieces painted, and while I'm waiting on that paint to dry, I'm going to go ahead and caulk this top edge right here and get that ready for paint. Now that this piece is ready, I'm going to slip it into place and then put my other board back. Something like that. Now that they're both in there, I'm just going to use my spacer and pin them into place. Been a windy, crazy day. A little rain, a little wind, a little rain, a lot of wind, a lot of rain. We're getting it done though. Last piece, I only had to cut the lap joint on one side, and this side I just had to rip it down a little bit. Alright guys, that's all we got for this time. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, click on one of those two videos. They're going to pop up right there. And we'll see you soon.